Hi and welcome to July's review. We start July with a really intense and powerful aspect. Mars makes a square to Pluto. Now with this aspect it generates a lot of energy, a lot of intense energy. And if you can get to grips with this, if you can channel this energy correctly, you can change the world around you, and this is an aspect of fantastic transformation. But on the downside, if you don't harness the energy and it works against you, you'll end up with power struggles. This could be between friends because Mars is in 11th house, or colleagues, or even in a group situation. You could come up against a group where there's opposition and it could feel like you're banging your head against the wall, but try not to allow this. Now with Pluto in the 8th house, life matters will come to the surface. Important life issues could come up, and you've got 4 days of this aspect, so just be aware that this really high powered energy is around. Then on the 2nd, your ruler Mercury makes 2 aspects, so this is very good for you. The first is to Saturn is in that 9th house. It's a good time to plan ahead for the future, any exciting adventures that you feel that you would like to take part in. And then the other aspect is to Neptune, is in that 10th house of career and destiny. So it's a time to dream big. Think creatively of how you can improve your status, either in your career or in your destined path. Another powerful aspect on the 5th, because we have your ruler Mercury moving into Cancer and your 2nd house. This is the house of finances, and he'll be at 0 degrees, and he makes an aspect to Mars. Now Mars is also going to be at 0 degrees in your 12th house. And this is the house of Taurus, who incidentally rules the 2nd house. So there's a lot of connections here and a lot of powerful energy that you can use with that 2nd house in mind. So finances, possessions, anything on a business level will benefit from your quick mind, because your mind will be quick with Mercury at 0 degrees. It's going to have incredible intellectual and mental abilities. Now Mars moving into the 12th house, it does dull down a bit. It's not quite as active and positive in the 12th house. The energy will start to turn inward, so this is a good time for reflection and for working behind the scenes. Then on the 6th we have Venus making a nice aspect to Chiron. Chiron's in that 11th house of friends. So this is a time when a friend may need your help, or you can give advice to a friend who maybe has had a difficult time, and you can help them out. A bit of a frustrating day on the 8th, because the Sun in that 2nd house of finances makes a square to Chiron in 11th. So any discussions with friends about finances or money will be quite frustrating, and you may not be able to get your point through, so leave that for the day. On the 9th we have another aspect with the Sun, this time to Uranus. Now Uranus, being in your 12th house, is hidden, he's underground, so to speak. But that doesn't stop him from wanting change. This is an aspect of creative change. So you might find that there are forces that come up from your unconscious that give you the strength or the ability to make some of those changes. There's a new kind of you bubbling under the surface, and it's time maybe to allow some of that to come through with Uranus in this position. Also you have the confidence, because your ruler Mercury is in aspect to Jupiter, so you'll have the confidence to bring things through and to perhaps start to show a new side of yourself to others. On the 10th you just need to have a bit of caution, because Mercury, your ruler, who's very, very active this month, makes a conjunction with the Black Moon Lilith. And this is a time when things just come to surface. So you may say things that you may regret later, especially where finances and possessions are concerned, because that's the area they're sitting in at this time. So you might say things that upset people, so just think before you speak. Then on the 12th we have a fantastic aspect, as the Sun makes a a positive aspect to the moon's north node. Now the north node is in your 12th house, so this is a day when you could expect messages. These could come through dreams, through the unconscious, or through the spirit world, from your loved ones or ancestors. And it could be that you're uplifted by these messages and that you realise that there is support behind you, and this will help you to plan, because we also have Venus making an aspect to Saturn. We spoke earlier about Saturn in that 9th house, planning adventures, planning new things, maybe learning new things, because the 9th house is about higher learning. So this will help you to give you more confidence again to put your plans into action. On the 13th we have our full moon. Now the full moon's in Capricorn, and this moon is devoid of emotion. The moon is in its detriment in Capricorn, doesn't like being in this position. So it's still good for ambition and for focusing on practical matters, but there's no emotion there, there's no connection. But for you, Geminis, it's in your 8th house. So there's emotion that comes through the 8th house, because this is the house of Scorpio. This brings intensity, and it's also the house of Pluto. Pluto's in this house for you, and very close to the full moon. Whether it's close enough to have a direct influence, I'm not sure, but because it's in this house, the 8th house, I think there is going to be an influence from Pluto. So it may be that on the surface you are devoid of emotion with this moon, but these emotions that are buried will start to come up through Pluto, and this could be very interesting, because the things that come up you will need to deal with. Being in the 8th house is probably to do with finances or sharing or intimacy in some way. Now the other thing we have is 2 other aspects on the same day as the full moon, and remember that this full moon influence will last for 2 weeks, so there's plenty of time to deal with these issues. Now the other aspect, or one of them, is between Mercury and Chiron, so insecurities may surface. These could be to do with money or to do with sharing. And then there's another aspect to Neptune in the house of career and destiny from Venus. So here we could see that there is issues related to authority, to either taking authority or having to deal with authority, and also there's a little bit of fantasy about where you could be going in the future with your career and destiny. So a lot of these issues are all going to come together, and you'll be able to work out what you need to work on and do it straight away. Don't waste time. As I've already said, your ruler Mercury is very active this month, and there's 3 aspects over the next 3 days. The first one on the 14th is to Uranus, and this will set your mind alight. This aspect gives great mental ability and such intensity as well. It'll be difficult to sleep because your mind will be running through so many new ideas and exciting things, and some of these may affect your finances going forward, and most of it's great ideas to either make money or save money. Then on the 15th we have another positive aspect to the moon's north node. Now we spoke about the north node earlier. This is where your inspiration will come from. This is where your messages will come from, and you need to keep in tune with these, because there are no such thing as coincidences. These things happen for a reason, and there'll be synchronicity with this aspect. And then on the 16th the Sun and Mercury come together, and this is always good, because this allows communication to run freely. This allows you to express yourself, because when they're together, Mercury can express the Sun and the inner experiences and emotions of the Sun, because you're coming through the heart. The Sun represents the heart, and Mercury can express through the heart. While the Sun and Mercury are together, they make 2 aspects before they depart. Mercury's very quick at the moment, so he's moving away quickly. But the first aspect on the 17th is an opposition to Pluto. Now this is across the money houses, so there could be difficulties with finances. There could be a truth that you learn that is hard to accept, or it could be that you're implementing sweeping changes. So there's lots of discussions, and there could be a little bit of a struggle, but things need to be sorted out. Then on the 18th there is an aspect to Neptune, and Neptune's in that 10th house we've mentioned before, of career and destiny. So this is a time when you need to look and see exactly where you are and where you want to be in the future. This is a very creative aspect. It also could be a little bit dreamy, a little bit fantasy prone, so just keep reality in place and assess where you are. On the 19th, Venus has moved into your second house, the house of finances. So this is going to be good over the next few weeks. Also, in second house, this is the house Venus rules, so it should be more sensitive, more caring at this point. We also have Mars. Mars making an aspect to the black moon Lilith. Now, this is a difficult one because Mars is in that 12th house, so we could find that there is anger or resentment that comes up from the unconscious that's built up over recent times and maybe come out unexpectedly, so be aware of that. Then on the 20th, we have your ruler Mercury changing sign, moves into Leo. Now this is detriment for Mercury in Leo. It's not the best sign for it to be in, but he's in the third house, the house he rules, so this will help to offset that a bit, and there will be a bigger influence because of that. Now, the other thing we have is Chiron going retrograde. Now, Chiron retrograde is in your 11th house, so issues that it will bring up over the coming weeks will be to do with friends or group involvement. So if there are any wounds or any things that are from the past to do with groups or group involvement or friends and colleagues, then they will surface at this time. It's a good time then to work with those, deal with them and let them go. On the 23rd, the Sun moves into Leo. This is the sign it rules, so this is the sign where it will shine its light brighter. So it's a time to take ownership of things and to really move things ahead. Also on that day, we have your ruler making a positive aspect to Jupiter, and this is good for finances, especially in business because it's in the 11th house, which is the house of money earned from businesses. And then Venus makes an aspect on the 24th again to Jupiter. This again is good for finances, but also for relationships and relating well to others. On the 26th is quite a challenging day as Mercury makes a square to Mars, and it could be frustrations and irritations bubbling under the surface as Mars is in that unconscious area of your chart. But just keep a lid on things because the next day, 27th, is fantastic because Mercury makes a positive aspect to Chiron. Chiron's in that 11th house, so communication will flow. It's easy to talk to people, it's easy to talk within group situations, and you can talk about just about anything, and you're not afraid to talk about your emotions as well. So this is a great aspect. Also on that day we have Venus coming together with the black moon Lilith. Now these two together are like twins. They get up to all sorts of mischief. So this is a day when passion will be high, but just be careful because it's in the money house, so don't spend too much recklessly. Also it's a day when you could be quite possessive because Venus is in that second house that belongs to Taurus, and possessiveness is a sign there. On the 28th we have the new moon. The new moon is in Leo, but it's in your third house, the house of Mercury. So there's a definite connection here, and also communications can be very much highlighted. Now, the new moon is about embracing the new. It's about taking up a challenge. It's about learning something new. But also it's time to knuckle down and get all the tasks finished with it being in the third house. Now, Leo is about being brave and bold, and there's going to be a lot of trust that's needed because on the same day as the new moon we have Uranus coming together with the moon's north node. Now this is going to be quite eventful because this is in your 12th house. So things will happen, the universe will conspire behind the scenes to put you on the right track, to free you from limitations and restrictions you've been putting up with lately. Things will conspire, events will happen, and you'll suddenly realise that your life is changing, your world is changing. So this is why you need to have that trust. Also on the 28th we have Jupiter going retrograde. Now, Jupiter's in that 11th house of yours, so there'll be issues relating to groups and friends that you can now deal with. It's a good time to take a more spiritual approach because where Jupiter is going retrograde, your consciousness is enlarged, and this is a great time to get into anything that's spiritual or anything that can help your soul evolve and grow. We have an extremely eventful end to the month. On the 31st we have the first aspect to this Uranus North Node conjunction. So it's a triple conjunction as Mars joins them, and Mars will inject an incredible amount of intense energy to this aspect. Now this Uranus aspect lasts for 19 days, so we'll be speaking about it again next month, but this is the first real aspect that applies to it. So Mars, it's either make or break. It's either a time when you pull away from your past to lift yourself from these restrictions, or it could be a negative time when you go down deep into your unconscious and kind of let things happen. So this is up to you. You either be brave and bold with this new moon in Leo and take the bull by its horns, or you can let things happen to you and see what consequences you have to put up with. Now, to help you, there is a positive aspect between the Sun and Jupiter. This will give you the confidence and the ability to push forward and to leave the past behind. We also have an aspect between Venus and Chiron. Now, this could throw a little bit of a spanner in the works, because it could be something that comes up from the past, a past wound to do with a friend, or to do with a group situation whereby you may have been humiliated or you felt uncomfortable. So this may come up, but just use the confidence of the Sun and Jupiter to put that to bed and let it go by, because you're going to move forward with a much greater confidence. Thank you for watching my July review. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. If you'd like to leave me a comment, I'd be glad to hear from you.